Hello and good evening. Without my pants. I'm Aaron Twist. Without my pants.
See, I feel like because this is the episode. Without my pants. I'm Gabriel Twist, and
With your pants.
it's funny because the episode that this is based on is I'm without my undies.
Oh,
Yeah. The episode this is based on is called Without My Shirt,
right.
which is 100% less embarrassing than Without My Pants.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I figured Without My Pants was about as naughty as they could get it, within a kids show.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have gone Without My Undies, but I feel like Without My Pants does cover a lot.
It also flows better.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
So this was episode 12 in season 1. And it opens with Nell ripping down a poster because Nell hates posters.
Well, we get a poster. It's just like that we didn't really get, and it's kind of, I'll talk about this when we get to the end of it, but like we didn't get a title card.
Yeah.
We got technically I suppose this is one, but it's also in universe and directly related to events within the plot. Like fucking the magic mirror wasn't related to anything in the fucking copy episode,
Yeah, so far the title cards haven't related 100%.
Yeah, well, they've been in their own little dimension.
Yeah.
Just a fancy title fucking sequence. Whereas this is like, we have a poster for the Port Miranda Fun Town competition where they're competing to be labeled fun. And that pays off in a way I did not expect. Because the first thing I thought when I saw it is that is the saddest fucking thing I've ever seen, and exactly what a pathetic little Australian town would do. Is we're the fun town. What do you base that on? Nothing. We built a giant prawn, something like, and like that's the good ones.
Yeah.
The good towns will build something out of like fucking crepe paper and like just depression, and you wind up with like a big pineapple, and it's like, oh yeah, look at that. And this is just, oh yeah, we're fun, and it's like, okay.
What does that entail?
Yeah. So Nell either hates fun or hates posters.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, or like something like that.
She definitely hates fun posters.
That's that's the one certainty. And she like grumbles and rips the fucking poster up and then wanders off with just a scowl on her face.
I think it's because it was attached to her shack.
Oh, that's an even better explanation.
Like, you shouldn't be attaching things to people's shacks without their
No,
permission.
if you put a poster for a fun town competition on my door, I'd kick your ass. Like, I would fight a person for doing that. I'm suddenly on Nell's side now.
So this episode opens with the Twist kids sitting on the cliffs with some binoculars, trying to look at whales. They're trying to see some whales. They're going whale spotting.
Yeah, this is what we'd call a, in Medias Res, which is like in the middle of things. So the kids are obviously already doing something, and we don't know what. And then we find out what, and in typical 1990 Australian children's television workshop special effects way.
Oh, yeah. So they look through the binoculators, as Bronson says.
Calls them.
And Pete takes them and he looks through and he doesn't see any whales, but he does, as you see, the early 90s or late 90s, whichever way you want to look at it. There's a dog.
Yeah, and it's just like, and this doesn't come up at any point later in the thing either. Like they're out there spotting like what's clearly some kind of magic dog. Because it's just running around on the water.
It's just on the water.
Yeah, and by that we mean there's a really, just poorly green-screened dog. And they haven't considered the scale at all. Like,
No.
as the, like when you just really poorly green-screen something and it's like, oh yeah, look, it's like clearly the wrong fucking size. It is to the fucking bit of wave that it's standing on, like the size of a house.
This is a giant dog.
It's just giant. And it's,
oh my God, it's coming at us.
Yeah, it's so bad that without any other context for like the water, it looks janky. Which is like, they could have made it tiny and it would have looked fine because then you wouldn't be seeing the green screen edges that much. And then the dog teleports away in a green puff anyway. So like, I don't know, fuck it. And so that's what the Twist kids are doing today, is like trying to find the teleporting dog, which, to be fair, that's probably what I'd be doing.
Yeah. So they go down to the beach and the dog's just digging like holes.
Well, they're trying to find
everywhere.
it. And then they find evidence of the dog, which
true.
is, yeah, well, I wrote this down because Pete calls the feces Barker's eggs. And
I've never heard that term.
Neither have I.
Did you look it up?
No, it might be a Melbourne term.
Now.
Yeah, you have a look now, because the problem is like Melbourne was like kind of a city before like most other places in Australia. So it's been around a little while. And as a result, there are things that were like,
oh shit.
was
It's actually,
slang.
this is in the dictionary.
Huh.
Macquarie Dictionary. Barker's eggs. Canine fecal matter, usually in unwanted locations like lawns and footpaths.
Yeah, it's a Melbourne thing. So they're like Melbourne's had an approximation of Australian culture for a lot longer. Like, Brisbane was an accident. And, my father remembers a time when you had to shit in a hole in the yard.
Mm.
And that's not a joke. And, as a result, where we grew up in a period where like there was international sort of communication. Whereas like Melbourne actually managed to develop what some may from a distance refer to as a culture. And as a result, a lot of its own funny little slang terms.
Contributors' comments. Melbourne Informant. As a bird's egg collector of the 1950s, it was common to swap birds' eggs with other collectors. Once I was caught swapping an eagle's egg for a Barker's egg. Imagine my disappointment when I found the egg to be a pile of dog's droppings. They're also called Barker's nest, pile of dog droppings. If
you're a bird egg collector and someone manages to sculpt dog feces to appear like, I mean, how are you getting conned here?
I've heard this referred to as Barker's eggs in SA. A lot of it's Melbourne. Early 70s, I also heard bleached dog poo referred to as a Ronnie. Interesting. Apparently, Dame Edna used this phrase in one of her skits.
That is unsurprising.
Okay. Well, there you go.
We just all learned something very, very useless.
Fucking wait. It'll be on a trivia show. They'll be like, what's a Barker's egg? And you'll be like, bam. Thanks, Twist Kids.
Got myself a meat tray. Because like this green, I swear to God, this is so there's this dog teleporting around with green energy. And I swear to fucking Christ, this is a fucking Kurt Vonnegut story. I can't remember which one, because they're all a weird melange in my brain. But I swear it's not Sirens at Titans. It might be Sirens. I can't remember. There's one where there's a guy that just shows up every now and again because he's stuck in some weird energy system.
So yeah, the dog, they find the dog.
Yeah, and it's fucking dug the beach up.
There's holes everywhere.
Yeah. Like fucking waist deep, which is pretty impressive, actually.
Like,
I don't know, maybe a dog could do that.
It is sand, I guess, so it's probably... It looked like the soft sand too. It wasn't the stuff that got...
Yeah, no, it was like, it was soft, pleasant beach sand.
Yeah.
It wasn't like fucking dense.
So the kids get near the dog and it teleports away.
Yeah, and then they yeah.
I like the teleporting. I wonder where it goes.
I don't know. Is this when he touches it?
No, he touches it later.
All right, yeah, he does.
So they
because they go back to their house.
Yeah, and then Nell, they talk to Nell because they've got a painting. Nell's got a painting.
Nell's like their fucking deep throat from X-Files.
Yeah.
Like and to be fair, clearly she knows what the fuck is going on all the time and she's fucking keeping
She
secrets.
never tells and she's a cranky bitch. And I think Nell should be nicer.
Nell.
Because there's freaky stuff going on.
And Nell's plan was like to maintain a veil of ignorance, which I do understand because if you tell Bronson about anything, he's going to fucking wreck it. But like at this point, the children have clearly bumbled into enough of the stuff you're trying to keep secret that you may as well just fucking tell them the safe shit. Okay? Like they found your labyrinth, you might as well tell them which fucking corners to go down. Because like she says, stay away from things you don't understand, which is good advice, but also, look where we are.
It's also a dog. It's a ghost dog. If I saw a dog teleporting, I'd want to see what the fuck it's doing.
Yeah, like that. And yeah, again, like I'm gonna go fucking rub the fucking teleporting dog. Like fuck you, Nell. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't understand it. No, I'm not gonna stay away. Like fuck you. Okay, I'm curious. I want to learn things, Nell. I'm not like just some desiccated barnacle living in a fucking shack.
So she has a photo of a man and the dog, and she says the dog belonged to a man called Ben Byron, and the dog fell over.
And then man jumped
in to save it, and they both drowned. So which, there's a lot of people falling overboard ships in this series so far. Because the clowns fell overboard.
Yeah, actually. That's a good, it's just, I mean.
I guess it's the easiest thing when you live in an ocean.
Yeah, I'd be willing because I don't know a lot about like old timey ocean voyages, but if it's like old timey everything else, I'm assuming it was unbelievably dangerous. It's not like anyone's gone, oh yeah, remember how great factory working and safe that was in the 30s? Yeah. Let's harken back to the old days of occupational health and safety for like early 1900s mines.
How many fingers did you lose? 2. Yeah. You're still right. Keep going.
Yeah, like you can tell me that like, oh yeah, people just used to follow. There were just no railings. Like it was just a sheer drop off the edge of the fucking boat. And I'd believe you because it's the old times and people didn't give a shit.
It was much like, that game on Mario Party where you've got to tilt it to try to make people fall off. It was pretty much the same thing, You don't want to fall off.
Also, people would just butter the deck for for good luck. Apparently, that was
And because the wood was succulent when licked.
fucking and while they're doing this too, like the painting that they're fucking standing in front of, the dog barks, and then in the painting, the dog's like moved from its spot near the guy's leg and is digging.
Yeah.
And that doesn't come up later and is not really relevant, but it happened anyway.
So they've got an idea that, hey, the credit to this episode, it straight up unveiled the plot sort of to a much better effect, I think, than most episodes so far.
I was actually going to say, like, structurally, I think this is probably the best episode so far. It's about a thing.
Yeah.
And it pursues that thing, and it sets some stuff up, and there's resolution, and great. Like, it is a fucking narratively competent fucking construction. It's not just, like, a bunch of shit happening. Like, there is a bunch of shit happening, but all of it relates directly to, like... And granted, all right, the fun town thing is kind of dumb, but that's also a sad thing Australian towns do, so...
Sadly, Australia is... sad, especially in the 90s. A lot of small towns.
Before you could at least look at boobs on the internet, shit was depressing, man. Like, it just, what are you gonna do? Fucking grow a mullet and go to a pub?
Go buy a nudie magazine. There you go.
Go get picture. So the kids are in like fucking school, and Snapper's just going on. Like, he is fucking at full tilt Fraser Crane mode.
He's so great. I love. Look, I gotta say, Esben Storm.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of love for, because he wrote a lot of the episodes and storylines and structures.
His name is Esben Storm,
which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, like it's Dutch, but like it sounds like a weather-based Batman villain's real name.
Yeah,
like, oh look, the guy who's got like a stick that controls the weather.
Weather Wizard. His real name,
yeah, Weather Wizard, real name Esben Storm. I'd be like, oh yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous, but it fits like that Silver Age. Yeah, you have a Silver Era DC name.
Yeah, which is rad.
And it's hard to pull those off.
And R.I.P. He did die in, I think, 2011. Yeah,
10 years ago.
Which is, a shame, because I really want to talk to him.
Write a letter to him. Yeah. Especially after this episode. Some quality Snapper in this episode.
Dude, Snapper was off the chart.
And so he's like he's trying to get the kids to like come up with topics for like a fucking speech that they have to give. Like, so, the classic oral report. And one of the girls suggests like Henty, and I swear that like for a second I thought she was talking about hentai.
Yes, the Australian slang of it, Henty.
Yeah.
Gotta get me some Henty.
Gotta go on the net and look at Henty.
Oh, what is Henty?
It was like a guy's name. It was a surname for some explorer or some shit.
Okay.
And then Pete, because like he has a brain cyst, just says, I want to study shovel.
Dude, the first thing, if you Google Henty, literally the first result is hentai. Like, I kid you not. Check this.
Yeah, no, I believe you. You gotta feel sorry for
uncensored porn, spank bang, first link. Henty porn videos, Pornhub, second link. Like, they're all just boom.
Is it correcting it to hentai, or did morons on porn sites spell it henty?
No, I'm going to click this. I'm going at the expense of my own thing. I'm going to see what henty porn videos are.
It'll just be
it's
hentai,
just people,
but people are
misspelled it. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, that's great. Like, there's henty out there. That's fantastic. Good on you, dum-dums. So he just says, I want to study shovel because, like, Pete, is engaged in this. And so he wants to use...
They get the dog's name from Nell. Because I can't recall it.
I think so.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm just going to assume so.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm pretty sure, because it would have come out when she was telling the story, because she named Ben Byron.
True.
Like, I can't remember it happening 100%, but I'm just like, I was operating under that's where that information was given up. You feel free to rewatch it at home.
Also, Henty was Queen Henty, a Hittite queen.
Huh. What's she about?
Assumed her role as Tawananana after the king's mother, Devufapa, died. Seemed like an African princess or something.
Did she rule for a while? Like, was she actually in charge? Because it's always interesting to see what happens when, like, every now and then in the ancient times, a lady would be in charge. And, like, that happened once or twice in Egypt, and it really upset people.
She was just the wife of king.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, no.
She was just hanging out.
I don't know what a Tawananana is. Title for the Queen of Hittites. Oh, there you go.
Montane. And then, like, because, like, they bring up now that, like, Gribble Sr., because, part of the fucking fun town thing is, like, find fucking Byron's bones, which is insane. But like, brings up that he's got the boot, like one of Byron's boots in his window, and he'll get the boot and use that as like part for his talk. And then, Gribble Jr. is like, oh, my dad will never give you that because it's part of his thing. And then Rabbit calls it a fartifact instead of artifact. Because he's trying.
He can't pronounce artifact. Poor kid.
I mean, I know, because it's too close to it's one of those things where you haven't written a stupid character well.
He also calls it an artichoke at one point, which is very funny.
Because like, it's adding a sound, He like arty, and then like if he calls it an artifact or something,
Yeah, because Gribbs goes, it's not funny, arty,
Yeah.
arty fact.
And then like when Pete says he wants the shoe, like, because he goes to fucking, oh, that's right, yeah, because they go to Gribbles.
They go to his, yeah.
Because it just
Which
cuts
is
to,
also,
it is one thing I will say, because like the school day is like weird. 'Cause
Yeah.
It just goes from like school day to home, then like.
I have to ask, Gribble, because it says he's in his dad's shop,
Yeah.
but I thought he was a real estate.
Well, they have,
Agent.
yeah, they have offices.
So is he just selling shit off the side in his office?
Well, no, but they have like, they have like a storefront.
Mm.
Like a lot of real estate places will have a storefront.
No,
so you
I
can,
get that, but like, was he selling items in there as well?
I don't think so.
Mm.
They'll have models and, display shit and stuff like that. Yeah, shoes. Yeah, shoes you find at the beach.
Because he asked Gribble Senior. He says, "I want the shoe." Oh no, he says, "I want a shoe." And he goes, "Oh, can't your father afford shoes?" And that's fucking. That made me grin. That was good.
Yeah, and Gribble doesn't want to give up the shoe.
Which
Because it is the basis
that's
for
his
his
shoe.
hunt the bones thing.
Which is fucking stupid because you don't need a shoe to hunt bones.
Yeah, and it is just a fucking, like, it's a boot you found buried in the beach. Like, we're not talking like this thing's made of gold or fancy in any way. It is just an ugly, ragged fucking boot. Like, if you go to like a creek and you find a boot and you go, wow, creek boot, that's this boot.
Mm.
And so we cut to fucking, they've given up. Pete's given up on finding the fucking, getting the boot off of Gribble. So I guess he's off to like look for bones. And then Bronson's with him, which leads to what you described as Bronson in a nutshell. I didn't ask you to come. Because Bronson's just invited himself and is complaining about the arduousness of the task, which is very funny.
Such a Bronson thing to do.
No, like me just rolling up at a party I'm not invited to and going, oh, well, the atmosphere here sucks.
Oh, your music's a bit off, you know?
All of the people here are ugly. And so, fucking they're walking the beach and they find the electric dog.
Pete touches it.
Yeah.
He gives it a pat. And he slowly does it, and it's corporeal.
Yeah.
It's there. And then it zaps him.
Yeah, with like green.
You don't want to be
Which is-
zapped with green.
That's the same shit that Johnny Cage throws at you.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to assume it is the same technical energy.
No, Johnny energized a lot of dogs before,
He just goes
passing
around,
on.
Goes around, charging up dogs. Kind of like Gambit.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I'd totally do that. Just lightly charge things, just tiny.
Just lightly charge ladies' purse dogs so it like zaps them when they go
Yeah.
to pet them.
That would be funny.
And so the weird thing about this though is, and I will say that there is not exactly any fucking explanation for this part of it, but like the story also kind of explicitly deals in, a degree of open-ended mystery parts.
Mm.
So I'll let this fucking work as it does. Because after the electricity zaps Pete, if he says anything, and I can't tell if it's just a noise, he doesn't try just making, noises or speaking in another language, which is what I'd have tried.
Mm.
But every time he finishes a sentence, he says, without my pants.
Which is a problem.
I feel like this might have made more sense in the book, in the short story, which I believe was in Unreal. Because I do remember reading this one.
Mm.
I don't remember it in enough detail, but, yeah. I mean, it does sort of tie into something that happens, there is a reason.
You are correct. It was in the Unreal.
Yeah, there is a
collection.
reason for the pants thing, but there's not a lot of reason for this to happen this way.
Yeah. Because without a shirt, A boy called Brian has a speech impediment that forces him to say without a shirt each time he finishes a sentence. When he's forced to move to a new house in the center of a cemetery because his dog is repeatedly digging, he eventually finds some bones may be linked to his speech impediment. After fulfilling the task involving the bones in a shirt, he loses the speech impediment. It was later adapted as Around the Twist, although Without a Shirt was changed to Without My Pants.
Without My Pants is better. And that's a heck of a speech impediment. I mean, that's at that point, that's neurological. You know, it's like, you know, fucking Tourette's isn't like a problem with your mouth, where like if just air passes through it at a certain angle, you say fuckhead. You know, like it's a bit in your brain. I can see Without My Pants being a twitch too.
And you know, this is actually really funny. I'm on the Round the Twist like wiki, and for the episode, and it had shovel as a blue link, so I clicked shovel, and it says shovel, species, dog, owner, Ben Byron, color, white, status, deceased. It also says gender, male, which is incorrect.
Well, they're calling it her throughout the episode, but I think it did have a schlong.
Did it?
Yeah, because dog schlongs are like, it's like their entire waist is a foreskin. You know, it's like, imagine if just you had kind of like I fold in your fucking, you know, if you could use your fupa as like tracksuit pants to stuff your dick in,
Well, that'd be pretty cool.
that's effectively dogs.
I'm looking at photos, like I don't see a wiener.
Like it's not out. Like that's the thing, is like you won't see a dog dick, and when you do, it's like, holy shit, what the fuck's wrong with the dog?
Oh man,
Because it just looks like fucking intestines flopping out of it.
It is
It
weird.
doesn't look right. It's
Yeah.
a very confronting. I remember seeing that when I was a little kid in Goodner, and just like, well, that's a confronting fucking sight.
I can't remember seeing it before the South Park episode with Red Rocket. Go, Red Rocket, go! They were just jacking off dogs.
Ow.
Which was fucking funny.
Bump myself.
So yeah, he can't stop saying Without My Pants. This is discovered.
Bronson's already just ripping on him hard.
They walk up to Linda, and she proceeds to
Rip on him
hard.
yeah.
And then Tony comes up, and he just kind of goes, well, okay, and just...
The thing is, Linda, like, actually fucking, because Pete says, you know, I was down at the beach without my pants. And then Linda goes, oh, I had enough of that during the cross country.
Call back.
Yeah, that's an amazing actual reference to a previous episode that validates people like us paying attention. Fucking stellar. Look at that, Australia in the 90s.
Yeah, we got twist world building. Watch out.
And so now, of course, because he's like, Pete's saying he can't go to school without his pants and stuff, and his dad's just going, well, yeah, obviously. And like, I mean, I feel like for the pace of the show, absolutely don't bother with this. But I feel like you could probably like try to chuck a sickie or something. You know?
Yeah, because he says I can't go to school without my pants, and obviously, and then he's like, it's just. Yeah.
Just pretend your voice is lost or some shit, or your fucking voice is breaking or something. One of your balls dropped. Now your voice is changing.
So we cut once again to the school.
Yeah.
And what's her name?
Yeah, I literally forgot and wrote her name in his girl face.
Fiona.
Fiona, that's right.
We always forget because it's Fiona and Faye, and they're both fairy sounding
similar
names.
Looking,
yeah.
like.
So she's trying to talk to him, and he's just kind of
doing charades
to get
about
there.
Fucking the cross cut. Oh,
and he originally he goes like this. He tinkles his fingers in the air, and to which Gribbs comes up and says, "Oh, he's in the finger race." Laughs and goes off. It's not very clever. Like
it isn't, but I 100. I know that would fucking absolutely kill in a classroom full of like middle schoolers. Like he's in the finger race. Oh yeah, look, his fingers are moving. That's a connection between two things I've seen, and then the kids go ape shit.
He eventually gets the word,
high jump,
and she's like, "Oh, I'm doing that too. Would you like to train with me?" To which he can't contain his excitement and bursts out, "Yeah!" and then tries to hold it in and my parents. And her look and turn away is perfect. It is a good shot.
It was, yeah. That's a solid use of a child that can't stop saying without my pants.
And then
Tiger
comes coming in. Snapper's coming. Snapper's coming. To which our favorite part of the episode comes.
All the kids dash into their fucking chairs, and then Snapper walks in and just goes, Snapper is here.
It is so good. It's got such manic energy.
It's like vaguely threatening. It's like Snapper has arrived. Like, because he refers to himself in the third person, and granted, it's leveraging off of what like fucking Tiger's just been, shouting, but it has presence,
Yeah.
Says, Snapper is here.
Snapper does have a commanding presence.
He does. Yeah. And then so the teacher, Snapper's making Pete talk, and obviously he's saying "without my pants," and the teacher's surprised, and Gribble Jr.'s making fun of him. And look, yeah. I mean, if you've got like an actual fucking twitch or something, no. But if like if you have a twitch for like a day, yes. Like if you didn't have a twitch before and then you come in and just start saying weird shit, it's like, no, you're gonna get fucking ripped on. Unless like, your mum finally comes in and explains that like a fucking, stray bowling ball hit you in the head or something.
I do love that how Pete was supposed to do something on the history of Ben Byron, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, I couldn't get the shoe without my pants." And to which Snappers go, "Look, Pete, if you haven't done the homework, that's you can do it tomorrow." And it's like, that's a fucking lenient teacher.
I mean, yeah,
just fail them.
They're in primary school, so for something like an oral presentation, the goal is not so much like, all right, have a detailed understanding of Ben Byron's shoe, but get up, look at a classroom full of other children, and try to express an organized piece of information with your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, it's a low bar. Like, he just has to say shit, basically.
Yeah, he could have made anything up. Like, no one knows who Ben Byron is there.
Yeah, he really could have.
So that's a disaster. Yeah. School's a disaster.
I mean, naturally. It's a disaster for anyone with a speech impediment. Like, if you've got some fucking thing that just, it's going to be hard.
So we cut from school to the beach, and the kids are going to find more bones. They find the dog, and the dog starts bringing them bones. Oh, wait, no, before this, isn't it Gribble's on the beach? Yeah, Gribble's on the beach with Ty. Oh, no, is that later?
No. That's later.
No, that is later. I wrote that down later, sorry. I got it mixed up. Yeah,
no. They're at the beach looking for bones, and the dog starts just bringing them piles of them.
And they start crying.
Yeah, and then they just start crying. And I've written like, dog is digging up bits of a person, kids are crying, seemingly under the influence of the magic bones. And I want to stress this next part. Nobody in this show can act. So it's 3 children who can't act, 4 for child actors, which is like negative, pretending to cry, not doing a very good job of it, while like a teleporting ghost dog keeps bringing them more bits of a dead human being. And they're kneeling on a beach sobbing over like fucking corpse parts. It's like, oh, that's bizarre. And then it cuts to like Gribble and his fucking weird goblin wife talking about how fun the Funtown competition's going to be.
And the kids come in
sobbing
with
a handful of dead guy.
And they're, "What, kids, why are you crying?" And then they start crying because of the influence of the bones.
Yeah.
At which at the perfect time, the judge dude
from
from the Funtown competition shows up.
Like, okay, I'm not going to be too fucking harsh about this because it's not relevant, really. But a guy shows up with like the weirdest goddamn haircut. Like, it's the regular sort of like bald middle-aged dude horseshoe, except the little horseshoey bits at the side that would normally be trimmed down and go under the ear are weirdly long, and so they come down to where it should end, but then rather than ending, they go boop and curl up to each side, making him look like a batshit maniac. And he has like a frown bolted to his face, and does not seem to be affected by the sad bones.
Which was interesting.
Yeah. Because now he comes in and there's just like, because you just assumed he was the Funtown judge, and I assumed he was the Funtown judge. Nothing explains that until much later in the episode. And nothing on him. Like, he could have just had a fucking badge that said judge, you know? Like, okay, he's just a lunatic.
The only call to it is earlier in the episode when Mr. Gribble, when Pete comes into his office for the first time, and he says, "Oh, Mr. whatever his name was," he was expecting him, Dumac or something like that. That's like literally the only thing. But as you said, nothing is said about being a judge.
It is sort of built in there in a way that is probably way more sophisticated than the rest of the storytelling is managing. But it's just like, he looks angry. And I mean, if I had that haircut, I'd probably be angry too. But I'd probably also, like, I don't know, do something about it. Like, it's...
If he had one on top, he'd look like a very real-life Krusty the Clown.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
It's just got that pointy out bit quality.
Yeah, one of those, like real life that interprets it into believable human shape. Like not just a guy that's got like the hair styled out to the fucking points. It's just like, oh yeah, that's what a living human Krusty the Clown might look like. It's because he also has that Homery quality, which is also kind of what Krusty was. He was the same fucking model because for the first like 2 seasons they were the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote, guy comes in with some of the wildest bald guy hair. And then I wrote, I think he's here for fun. Can't you tell? And so now the kids are at the lighthouse sobbing.
And the music plays, and they try to. Pete opens the door a crack and sticks a tape recorder in.
Yeah,
which is a good idea. Because the music keeps playing.
Yeah.
But then he opens the door, which was an idiotic idea. I would have recorded longer.
Yeah, and then they spring the door and go, oh, we're gonna and then nothing's moved at all, obviously.
And they play back the tape and there's nothing on it,
blank.
of course.
Yeah. Which is interesting because like those ghost hunter nuts always go on about like just tape recorders catching EM spectrum because that's where ghosts live or something. Which is fucking dumb if you know anything about
ghosts live on the spectrum?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's unsurprising. What if all ghosts would, like, only autistic kids become ghosts because they don't go to heaven? God doesn't want them.
Just the look on my face right now. Oh.
Come to the light. Too bright. Gonna walk around counting.
Oh, shit.
It's just an autistic kid goes, I'm going to finally be able to count all the leaves.
Damn, dude.
So, yeah, they're just, because the whole of the rest of this piece is like, for most of it, they're fake sobbing. And it's demented.
It is.
Like, the end result is really fucking bizarre.
And they go downstairs. Well, it cuts downstairs and Tony's down there crying, going, I've got the blues. And Bronson's there as well.
I mean, like, yeah, like, because the kids just sob. The kids know what's going on. The dad just crying in the kitchen in front of his son is like, I mean, if you have an adult brain, you're going to have one of two thoughts. Like, nobody just has the blues and sobs in the kitchen in a way. No single parent man with kids is sobbing in a kitchen without either knowing why or being about to kill themselves. Like, that's, that's not something that just happens.
Tony was replaced in the next episode, so.
Is he?
Dun, dun, dun. No, I just make that up. And he goes, oh, it might be because of all these bloody mice around. And there's just a mouse that runs past.
Yeah.
And then we hear this big snap. And he picks up the mousetrap. And I thought, it would be like by the tail.
Yeah.
Or
there
something.
are a lot of ways to have a mouse in a mousetrap that aren't its neck crushed.
Oh, dude. Yeah. It was just whoop, straight over the neck. Just that thing was gone.
Yeah. The wild thing is, though, is like, because I've caught mice in those things before. And yeah, it fucking crushes the neck.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, they're always stomach down because that's them getting at the food.
Yeah.
This one's stomach up so we can see its little face. And the fucking trap across the trachea. And it looks like a real mouse, too. So it's either an unbelievably well-made fucking prop beyond what I think is the established capacity of the children's television workshop.
Or they actually just killed a mouse.
Yeah, or they just had, like, someone found that just around, This is a fucking mouse corpse, and so he's, the kids run down with, like, a Hessian sack full of, like, corpse. And, like, again, this is like a corpse they found at the beach, because this isn't like, obviously it's just like an anatomy skeleton they got somewhere. But within the plot, it's like they found human bones.
Yeah.
In the wild.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
I've never seen human bones.
No, because if you find human bones in the wild, you found a dead guy.
Yeah.
And you've got to
Someone's
go
probably
tell
been
someone.
murdered.
Probably, yeah. They don't let you just bury grandma in the backyard with the cat. And I've looked into this. You're not allowed to just bury humans around.
Yeah, no. There's places for these.
Yeah, which is,
cemetery.
I think it's bullshit, but also, like, upon reflection in the light of this episode, yeah, you're not allowed. People don't want to be digging around and just find, like, oh, yeah, there's dad's head.
Yeah, no. Because that'd take a little bit to decompose.
Yeah.
So Faye comes to the door to see Tony.
Oh, hang on, because, like, when they pull the bones out, the bones fucking...
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they magic themselves into a leg, and then the leg puts itself into the boot. And
fantastic.
Yeah, then Faye shows up.
Yeah, and Tony's obviously crying, and she's like, "Oh, what's wrong, Tony?" And he pulls up the mouse.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Oh, you're such a soft-hearted man.
Yeah,
don't cry. It's only a mouse."
Does that weird woman thing where she gets all slippery at
And
the
then
side
she
of a crying
goes-
adult man.
I'll make you feel better. He's going to get head. That's where she's taking him.
Something's happening. Yeah, he's getting some. And then Gribble and Hair Guy show up to assess the place.
Playing what I can only describe as clown jamboree. Because it sounds like 3 circuses playing at once.
It
was a lot.
I mean, I'm kind of confused here because I can understand him showing like property developers and stuff around, because the whole idea is he's trying to kick fucking Gribble out so he can sell the property and make a lot of money. So showing property developers around is a great way of talking the site up and getting more money out of them. That makes sense. Bringing the fucking fun town guy out to the lighthouse full of nut jobs you don't like just seems like unnecessary. This is one of those trips where I think you could probably have skipped it.
He did say that Tony was making a sculpture for the...
I mean, I suppose there is that. But I mean, like, considering all the things that have happened when you've brought, like, people to come and look at the lighthouse, I feel like at this point, Gribble, you got to be learning,
I don't think Gribble's a smart man.
Yeah, that's true. He is in real estate. And so, the hair guy is just, again, he just looks angry. And this pays off later in ways that are really bizarre. But, like, he's got this insane, weird little hair that looks kind of like those old royal wigs, except bald in the middle. So it's like his actual hair, which is even more insane. And it's just drilled into this fucking angry face.
Do you reckon... You remember, those judge wigs, right?
Yeah.
Like the big white ones. Do you reckon anyone's ever, like, just grown their hair into one?
I mean, if I were a judge, that's just what I'd do. I mean, that's one of the stupidest things.
If
Like,
I was a
hate that
judge,
shit.
I'd change my name to Judge. So I'd be Judge.
Change your last name to Fudge.
No, Binks. Judge Binks.
Fuck you. God damn it.
So we cut to the school after this little shred, and Pete's giving his report, and he's sitting there crying, saying, "Without my pants," and Snapper's telling him to take it seriously. So he quickly blurts out, like,
His whole
report as quickly as he can.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's going to say "without my pants" at the end, and he tries to hold it in, and everyone's like, make fun of him.
Yeah.
Gribb's like, he's holding it in. Look at it. Here it comes. And he's going nearly blue and "without my pants."
I mean, can you whisper it? Can you just mouth it? I mean, the thing
I
is,
feel you could whisper it because you're still saying it.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's magic though.
True.
And so, like, once you start getting into magic territory, it's just whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So he says, you'll all see, you'll be sorry when you start crying. And he pours out the bones, and the whole class starts crying.
Yeah, I wrote, like, okay, where is it? Come here. Child dumps burlap sack of human bones onto school table. Crying children and Snapper. Nobody can act.
No. Snapper's blubbering, and he says 10 out of 10. And then class dismissed.
Class is dismissed, yeah. And the bones demand.
And Grib says we've got to get the rest of those bones.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say. Like, why do you want the magic crying bones?
Well, I think, beyond the sadness, the bones. This is why I wrote the bones demand.
Right.
Like, the bones are causing you to go get them all together.
Yeah.
And that's like, because rabbit.
See, I feel that would have been a better plot if all the kids from the class had the desire to go get bones.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, if we were to sit down and go, okay, how do we make these episodes better? We'd be here all fucking day.
True.
Let's just be impressed this one had a beginning, a middle, and an end,
So we go to the beach, and Rabbit's using a metal detector.
Which, yeah.
The first thing I said, a metal detector's not going to find bones. And then Gribble says, you're not going to find bones with that, you numpty. I think actually, did he say numpty? I feel he said numpty. It was something close. And
he does, however,
find
the
something.
other boot.
It's the boot. It's the other boot. And so they find it. They start feeling sad, which means the Twist kids are near. And they run off to go get Tiger for backup.
Yeah. And then the Twist kids show up to look for bones. Except now the dog's like, I don't know, a genius. It's teleported to the brain dimension and back.
Yeah, it just keeps finding bones. It brings them literally all the bones. So they did no work.
I know.
They did no work in this episode apart from getting the shoe from Gribble. That's it.
I mean, like, if you've been sobbing for, like, I think a whole day, I mean, yeah, that probably counts as work. So the dog just, appears and just, I mean, it does. again, it's one of those things where the show was going for an hour. Yeah, you could have Finding the Bones, you could have the whole class, you could do an awful lot. But like for a show like this, for like the 20 minutes it's allowed to exist once a week,
Yeah.
you've got to use shortcuts. And so like that's, you know, if you can get the short, like in a dramatic sense, it's not great. But in, you know, in the sense of like get the fucking episode from A to B and work, having the dog just showing up with the bones, all right.
Yeah.
All right, fine. It gets us where we need to go. And it's not just like, I'm the bone fairy. And then the bone fairy just disappears and then they never mention it again.
And they do find the skull. Skull's the final piece, and they stop crying.
I wrote, I hope my corpse can one day make a class of children cry.
Don't worry, it will.
Excellent.
So they stop crying.
Yeah.
And they realize because they've completed the skeleton.
Yep.
But now they've got to find the other shoe. And they've also found pants.
Yeah, they found the pants.
Which are in remarkable, you know, quality.
Yeah.
For being old.
Like 100 years, like a century old or some shit. Because I was thinking that earlier. It's just like, those are just like tradies trousers that you could like, nothing is going to be buried in a beach and not like fucking eaten by weird beach monsters.
Yeah.
You know, or just, again, decay.
Yeah.
Look at the sand. You know,
I guess it is
shit.
magic ghost pants.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm fucking sitting there thinking about ghost pants. Fucking goddamn ghost pants.
So Gribble and everyone shows up.
Yeah.
And they go get him.
Yeah.
And they start chasing them. I wrote down Tiger chasing Bronson. And that was a fun thing because Tiger is spewing commentary the whole time.
Yeah, because I wrote Tiger narrating chasing Bronson. Because he's just like, oh, I'm Tiger's coming up on, and like that is.
He's coming up on Bronson like a centipede in heat. That's what he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I missed that part. That's terrifying. That's amazing.
That is one of the most terrifying things I've heard on this show so far. A centipede in heat.
Yeah, that is top tier because that is so much at once. If someone was chasing you and was describing what they were doing and used the phrase centipede in heat, it's like, oh God, you're not just going to hit me, are you?
So he corners him against the cliff and Shovel, the dog, shows up to save Bronson, but you can't see Shovel.
Yeah.
You just see a line of pee.
It's just invisible now for some reason.
Start peeing on Tiger.
Yeah.
Which Tiger kind of freaks out a little. And then Bronson let go of the boot and it just floats at him.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell if the boot was floating or if it was supposed to be the invisible dog carrying it or some shit. And I feel like Tiger's a little more afraid of this. Like, I don't want ghost pee on me either. So that would be more of an issue. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the boot's just kind of, it's not like, when we say floating, we mean like kind of like a, you know, a bubble. It's not like, it's not floating as in being pelted at his head by like some kind of fucking, you know, poltergeist.
No. It's like I got trapped in a giant soap bubble. I'm just floating there, you know?
Yeah, it's a pleasant float, you know? And I mean, don't get me wrong, if I saw a floating boot, I'd be, you know, incredibly disturbed by that. But also, after like, you know, visiting a baby from the cabbage dimension, a floating boot's like low on the list.
Yeah.
And even like, because even Tiger's seen the fucking remote that can, oh no, that was in a dream, wasn't it? See, this is the fucking thing. You know, I'm here expecting Tiger to know shit. It's like, oh wait, no, that was some kid's fucking dream sequence. Fucking son of a bitch. I don't know. Maybe has Tiger seen a single unusual event? The frog. I think the frog was real.
The frog, yeah.
I mean, if I saw a frog wearing pants, I'd be pretty surprised.
It did jump like to the moon and come back.
Yeah.
So that's rabbit taking Tiger taken care of. We then go to rabbit chasing Pete.
If you want to take care of a child, piss on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Pete hides behind a bush, and which to Rabbit goes, hand over the pants. And Pete, being the genius he is, takes his pants off and gives it to him.
Yeah, and
but
like,
you know, smart play.
That is, yeah, no, that's how you beat Rabbit. And Rabbit, in a continuation of the earlier thing, refers to the pants as valuable lyrics, which I believe was meant to be relics.
Yeah. And he's not too bright because these pants are a completely different color than the ones he was holding.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't paying too much attention to what color the pants were. So, I mean, he'd have probably got me as well. I mean, at no point I'm thinking as an adult here, but at no point do I want to be caught screaming at a child in a bush to give me pants. You know, whatever. Yeah. Once I've got what I figured to be the pants, I'm getting out of there.
And Gribble is chasing Linda, which is a bad idea, which he finds out.
Yeah, because he comes at her and then Linda just stage fatalities Gribble.
Yeah.
By doing a fucking, lay back fucking foot to the gut. I don't know the Japanese for it. I have done it to people though. The classic judo throw.
Yeah.
Ryu's back throw from fucking Street Fighter.
Yeah, and off he goes tumbling down the hill.
Off almost a sand cliff.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen them, if you live coastally, like in a place that has like beaches and shit and isn't like, because there's those places in England where it's just rocks. But like if you live with like beaches, there are times when like the erosion patterns result in like a legit like almost 2-story high cliff.
Yeah,
of,
it's
like,
fucking
sand.
nutty.
Yeah, and this one isn't exactly vertical, but it's closer to vertical than it is to like 45 degrees.
He's rolling for a good.
Oh yeah, he's fucking
while.
off. I'm also almost entirely certain that that's how Sherlock Holmes kills Moriarty in the Reichenbach Falls.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's like it's weird because there are a lot of elements of like the fucking Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies that are actually more accurate to the fucking like stories, like his age. Like he's not old; he's like in his 30s.
Right.
The fighting, he was a fighter. He had it was a martial art called Baritsu, which was like but it was in the 1800s when like bits of like Eastern martial arts have been getting filtered over to like fucking the West.
And that's where barista comes from because you have to fight off everyone to give them your coffee.
Go fight that fucking little thing that goes into the thing. And they could just have like a lock or something, but it's just like, just force it. And all of them are like that, which I find fascinating.
So then
yeah.
Tiger, she goes, oh, you have a go then to Tiger. And he's like, no, I was just making sure that he wasn't going to hurt you.
Just making sure you're okay. Tiger is great at talking himself out of trouble. I do like Tiger. I feel like he should have his own TV show. I'd watch Tiger talk. He'd have it like these days. He'd have a YouTube program, and he'd probably be earning like way more than us.
He's got a big forehead. I looked him up. I was curious to see what he would look like, when he's older. So they've got all the parts.
Yeah,
and
they've dug a beach grave,
which is a lot.
They know how to do for some reason, and it's a really well dug beach grave.
It's perfect.
Yeah, like the walls are fucking flat. Like it's 6 feet deep. It's
they've buried someone before.
Yeah, like it's another one of those little things where it's like,
why do you think they had to move to a lighthouse? It's like coastal jail.
Yeah. Bronson still doesn't understand that you can't put living organisms back together like you put a VCR back together. And he smashed another child open to see how it worked.
I would see Bronson as a sociopath, just killer. Just, no remorse.
Well, but not,
no empathy, just
but not in like a in a way that manifests as sinister.
No,
like there's just this innocent childlike quality where it's just like, Dad, fix him, and his dad's just looking at a toddler with his brains opened up.
Jesus.
But so they've got this fucking beach grave,
and they pour the bones in, and it starts reforming to a skeleton, and I vividly remember shit like this from a lot of shows, and it's just because it's that janky animation, right? Of moving bones like one at a time, one frame at a time. And it's just got that unnatural quality of...
It's not great stop motion.
Yeah. And I just remember so many shows on ABC and other things at the time like that. That's a vivid memory I have. So it forms and... the Gribble Senior and the fun dude have shown up. They're overlooking the beach.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, the Twist kids may have got all the bones. How do you know that? And just by looking at them right then?
Yeah. Because he's explaining to Captain Fun that oh, don't worry, we'll just rebury them. Because for some reason, he's really hung up on this. The idea of digging for bones, human bones, potentially, in a beach is the centerpiece of his concept of Port Noranda being a fun town. And
dig out this corpse, fun.
Yeah, digging in sand sucks.
Yeah.
To begin with. And it's what am I looking for here? Oh, human remains. fucking, oh yeah,
Woo!
Great. Yeah, fucking doodle do. And then because fucking, this is what I mean when the payoff of this fucking guy is they're down there. They're fucking Gribble and fucking, haircut, standing on top of the beach. They're down looking at a fucking skeleton threaten Gribble's kids.
Because it rises out. It one hand comes up, pulls itself up, and it points at him because he's got the shoe.
Yeah.
Final shoe.
And then, he screams and throws the shoe in. And then the skeleton's happy he's got his shoe, but he's like, kind of like waiting. And then Pete's like, oh yeah, the pants. And then gives him the pants. And so the skeleton takes the pants off of the boy. And then the quote from Haircut is, after they see all this madness happen, Haircut just looks at fucking Gribble and smiles. And it's the first time this stone face has smiled, and it's not a natural human smile. And he just says, that was rather amusing.
It's such an odd... that is the oddest thing of this episode, is that guy. It's not the skeleton.
No.
It's nothing about it. Just that dude.
And then you said more boy nudity.
Yeah. Which is a running theme at this point.
It's a lot of fucking boy thigh. You just don't see it much on TV these days. They tend to they tend to avoid it. But just that was, and that's like the payoff to a weird joke that's been going for like fucking a while. And it's a weird joke with so little other grounding. Like, it's just this, that was rather amusing. It's like, what the fuck did you just see? And like, look, to be fair, again, I recognize the sewer clown and others. And it's like, yeah, that is pretty fucking funny. Like, what did I just say? Oh yeah, that's wild. Congratulations, Port Noranda, because your children can dig their own beach graves. Fun town.
Fun town.
Yeah. Believe it, no. Fun town's not an actual thing, Aaron.
No.
There's no judges for that. Like, I could just roll up at some shitty town and talk to the mayor with enough of a fucking con thing going on. That's what I'd do. I'd be a con man.
I've sold fun towns.
Yeah. Fucking, yeah, that. Except I just get them to do all this shit, then I don't show up.
Yeah.
Or I just tell 40 towns that they're the fun town and then just let them fight about it.
That'd be a good fight.
Yeah. Then the skeleton dresses itself, waves goodbye, dies. The kids fill in the grave. The sailor and the dog are up on the beachhead and they teleport off to fucking, space heaven. And
why do ghosts keep going to space?
It's just where Jesus lives. He's in Jupiter. And then it's just this final shot of, Bronson and Linda and Pete standing near a shallow beach grave that they've dug, and Pete not wearing pants. And
he's got like his hands on his hips too, so he's like it's in stance.
Yeah. While the strains of "Have you ever felt like this?" fucking just have you ever felt like this? Can't say that I have. And now we come to that time where I've seen too much of a fucking 10-year-old boy's upper thighs, and I have to ask myself, have you ever felt like this, Aaron? And the 3 questions we have for the end of this episode are: have you ever embarrassed yourself public speaking? Have you ever found something interesting on a beach? What's your weird term for dog feces? And your delightful addition, has your town ever been in a fun town competition?
I can't wait for the answer for that one. I hope someone says yes.
Have you ever embarrassed yourself public speaking?
Oh, let me fucking open the brain banks here. Oh. This is going back because like I don't remember a lot of like speeches in front of class.
See, mine's somebody else's story, but it's a fucking
that's
doozy.
fair. That's fair.
Well, the thing
you
was,
go while I'm thinking.
Well, that was the thing is like, talking has always just been something I can do.
Yeah.
If I just turn my brain off and go.
Yeah.
That was never too much of a fucking issue. But like, I got a friend of mine went to one of Brisbane's weird little fucking private schools full of boys. And it was like year
Which
10
one?
or 11. I can't, dude.
Was it the one at Strathpine?
No, it'll be in Windsor or some shit.
Okay.
Like it was somewhere around there. Like they all sound the fucking same to me. Like, same
Poor
fucking
boys.
Bartholomew school for future rapists. Like it's, I mean, fortunately it was a fucking, primary or something, or like a mixed primary secondary.
Well, that's good.
So I don't know. But yeah, there was a new kid, right? And it's like, get up and introduce yourself.
Oh, lordy.
And so he gets up, and this is the first time he's talking to a whole class of fucking boys. And he says, my name is Sean. But his voice decides to break
Oh, no.
on Sean. So what happens is, new kid, first day of a new school, right up in front of like, cluster of these little fucking, sociopaths, and goes, my name is Sean. And everyone breaks down laughing. And nobody called him Sean.
Of course not.
Everybody, and like with it, like when my friend tells us, like before the day was out, everyone knew about this. And so by like fucking, second break, he's walking around and people are just pointing at him and going, "Sean!" like that. And this
day,
this kept up like, because this is like the fucking last fucking semester. So like, between fucking June and, November. But like this kind of settled into the background hum. Like it didn't become a too active thing, but it was something that was always there. And, I think it stifled this kid's ability to have friends, etc. The last, it's the last semester, you just got to tough it out. So he's managing. And because this is it was a weird little fucking private school full of sociopaths, it's got like this one central stairwell. It's one of this big fucking one that goes around and around and around up the 4 floors of this fucking school.
Right.
And it's like a double wide fucking thing. So all the fucking kids can move around. Because between classes, literally all the fucking kids are moving around. So like, and again, because it's a small private school, it's like the, population of like fucking, maybe 400 or 500 fucking students. But at any, given point between classes, all 400 or 500 fucking students could be in this fucking little, hurricane. They're walking through between classes and someone sees Sean and goes, "Sean!" And then every other child just looks at this kid getting pointed at. 400 or 500 people all pointing at this one kid going, "Sean!" Just this harmony of like, "Sean!" for like a solid minute.
That's great. Like, that's almost like a horror thing, you know? Everyone turns, their mouths fucking gape.
No, because that's how I described it to him. And I was like, did he like come to school and kill all of you? Because he'd have had every fucking right to. And he goes, "Oh, I know. Like, it's like, so I understand both sides of it. Like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, you just do that because it's funny. Everyone's pointing at the kid going, "No," like, you gotta fucking do it. But like, also, it's like, do you want a shooter? Because that's how you get shooters. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I wonder where he is now. It's like, yeah, I gotta look him up on Facebook one day. So that's how bad it can go. That's probably the worst one I've ever heard of someone fucking up, like directly. Like,
I don't really feel embarrassment too much, so it's
we know
it's hard because like that's the thing is I didn't have many friends in high school. I had lots of acquaintances, like people knew me, and it's not like never like, "Oh, I'm not your friend." I was like friends, but not friends. I don't have good friends. So for me, I killed a lot of shame early because it was like, if you've got shame, that can be turned against you. So you never want to be in situations where, like that.
Yeah.
So
you never want to show weakness.
I can't really recall anything. The only thing that I think like would be embarrassing,
anything not where it's embarrassing, just where it went, it went awry.
No, I actually can't think of any. But the one thing that I think that was embarrassing, not for me, but for everyone else, and this isn't in school, but it stretches a little bit. When I was in a karaoke competition, I performed My Chemical Romance.
Oh, of course you did.
I was dressed as My Chemical Romance.
All of them? At once?
No, just one. But
just a bunch of Cabbage Patch dolls, just emo Cabbage Patch dolls.
Now this was at a those restaurants. It's not City Beach. That's a clothing place. The Beach House and Grill.
Yeah.
It was at one of those. It was the one at Stafford.
Okay, so like Beach House and Grill is kind of like, there's a lot of white in the decor. It's kind of like a pub trying to not exactly be a pub, but with a lot of pub energy.
Yeah.
So it does food, but it's also where it's where like fucking boomers with no taste go. Like
the other one was at the Royal English at Nunda, which is
a pub. Yeah.
Now I remember getting up and singing "The Game" by Disturbed.
I only know which Disturbed song is that, because I only know the one.
It is.
Is it the one that everyone knows?
No,
it's one of their others.
This is another. I was surprised that they had this on the actual.
I mean, to be fair,
thing, and it's like, it's essentially about.
Their fault.
I think a dude like Anyway, it's not a nice song.
Right.
It's really kind of
By Disturbed.
odd. And there's a scat point in it that goes rum bum 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 limbo, run bim bum limbo. And when I started
it's nuts
that,
how popular that was for like 2 years.
when I started that song, the whole pub emptied. Like all the smokers went outside immediately, and it was amazing. Like because they're all old, you know, they're 40, 50 plus.
Yeah,
They don't know what this is. It is hurting their ears.
Yeah,
they're
no,
out.
These are people who were raised on, like, if anything, maybe Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah.
Or like, you know.
So I think that would
Slim
probably be
Dusty.
That's an embarrassing sort of stand-up moment for me.
That counts. That very much counts. It is an issue that you're like fucking some kind of daredevil, the man without shame. But as a person who can posit the mental states of others, that was an embarrassing situation. You just waited.
I don't care.
Yeah, you just waded through it with a concerning lack of
I think
fucks.
Wayne was there, and
I bet he had a blast watching that.
Wayne or Crow, Scarecrow, one of the two.
Someone
them-
there was a witness is the point.
And they were having a blast.
Yeah, no, that's fucking great. That would have been fucking hilarious. Like, I'd have... The fucked up thing is, if I were there watching that, I'd have felt the shame that was meant for you.
I know.
And I'd have had...
That's why it's great.
Fuck out of here,
you know?
Because I can imagine... Because I didn't know that other bands besides Korn had that fucking scat shit.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that already is a big development. And I always... Because when we were, you know, back working at Manor, and they'd do, like... you know, Guitar Hero and stuff, and there were bits. People would do like, you know, Korn songs and stuff, and they'd always forget that whole fucking scat bit is in the fucking game, written down, and you got to fucking say it. And that was always hilarious and devastatingly embarrassing.
Oh yeah,
just fucking horrible. So the idea of you being able to just fucking freeball it up there at like the kind of people who look like they spend the daylight hours at a TAB, and then migrate. Like
90% of that pub was pokies and horses.
Yeah. Like these are depressing places where old boomers, not even old, like 40 or 50, but like
literally there was an old dude there saying, "Don't waste your life in this place," to me. Like he was telling me, it's like, "Why are you here? You're so young."
Oh God, that guy sounds like he'd enjoy My Chemical Romance. Okay, have you ever found something interesting on a beach?
Yes. So we used to go to the beach a lot because Dad had a 4 drive and we drove up the beach. So in Australia, there's people beaches where you go and like there's the beach there. Straight on the street. You can walk straight off Surfers Paradise onto the beach, have a swim, all that sort of stuff.
There'll be
Lifeguards,
amenities,
all that
lifeguards,
shit.
which
However,
you fucking need.
there's also beaches where you can drive up and no one's around. So if you're in a riptide or something, you're dead. You're fucked. Yeah. But you know, that's where you go. You go camping,
they're very
all that
much
sort of
not
stuff.
places for, because like sometimes it's just like literally bush to fucking ocean.
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's where there'll be long stretches where there's just fucking nothing.
So we went up there and I always remember bunkers.
Huh.
There was bunkers like off the hills.
I vaguely fucking
And
remember that.
that is interesting as fuck. I classify probably that as the most interesting I found on a beach. It wasn't buried so much, but
fend off the Japs.
Yeah, pretty much. Like seeing old broken down bunkers on a beach in Australia is nutty.
Yeah.
Because like there's nothing else really around. Like there's those weird bus stops that used to be sort of things and being converted.
There's nothing. Yeah, this is nothing.
There's nothing like it. So
relying on distance and people not caring. I was at Stradbroke with a friend of mine and one of his friends from England called Danny. And, you know, we were walking along the beach and Danny was complaining about like how everything in this country is fucking deadly. And we're like, oh, look, it's not that bad. And as we're saying it's not that bad, Danny bends over and goes, oh, fucking look at this, and picks up a cone shell.
Ooh.
Yeah, and for those of you at home, and we suspect it was actually dead because it was up on the beach where it was dry, and from what I understand, it's not where they're supposed to be. And we did hassle it with a stick, and nothing happened. But literally, as we're in the middle of going, look, like there's dangerous shit, but like it never kills anybody, you know?
Yeah.
Like the death toll of these things is like a 3 from like 1908. You know, every now and then someone fucking, it's very rare. People get bit. We also have like, you know, juice and we inject you with it and it fixes you.
Yeah.
There are some things that there is no juice for and don't get bit by those. But they're also like kind of hard to find. Like unless you like fisting big piles of like dry wood, you're fine.
Mm.
Danny picks up this thing called a cone shell. And the thing about the cone shell is it is a fascinating shell. Like I'm 100% unsurprised he picked up because if you see it, it is almost an almost perfect cone.
Mm.
It's really, really weirdly interesting in shape. And it's, quite distinct. So you're, oh, look at this. Inside the cone shell lives a little monster. And it has a harpoon, like fucking, like legit, like fucking scorpion.
Cone snails.
Yeah, that it will shoot quite a fucking range. And it contains a paralysis toxin that has absolutely zero cure and will fucking kill you.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a few variants too. There's ones that will like hurt you like a bee sting. Like that's all they'll do. And as you said, yeah, the ones that just will kill you.
Yeah, it's like it will just stop bits of you from functioning and you die. And it doesn't wear off. Like because apparently with the what is it, the blue-ringed octopus has a similar, it's a paralysis toxin.
Yeah.
Like some stuff works by like turning your blood into like fucking goo and stuff, but there's like antivenoms for that. These paralysis toxins work in ways there's no antivenom. You can't stop it. But if you get bit by a blue-ringed octopus and they get you into some kind of iron lung or other machine that can breathe for you, if that happens, you can live through it and it'll eventually just work its way out of the system.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there's none of that for the fucking cone shell.
No.
So he picks this thing up and is like holding it up, grinning and wanting to put it to his ear, otherwise known as like within harpoon range. And immediately me and my friend are like, yeah, fucking put it down. And he fortunately like just drops it like it's white hot straight away. And then, that was one of those great moments in Australian stereotypes where it's just like, yeah, all right. Okay, you know how we said like it's not that bad? That's one of the that bad ones. Just don't pick up fascinating grey shells you find on the beach.
Yeah, no. Big no.
What's your weird term for dog feces?
You go. I gotta think for this one.
It took me a second, but I remember my grandpa calling, like, because my grandma had like these little fucking yappy dogs, right? And they'd take these like little rock hard shits that were just around. And I remember my granddad calling them dung nuggets. And that's just stuck in my head. I don't
know if I ever had a term. Like, I just think I called it dog shit.
I mean, your parents or grandparents might have had like a softer, like
possibly
the PG terminology that they you get for
if
these
they
things.
did, I cannot remember it. Like, it's actually
Dad just called them Aaron piles.
They just put bowls on me. Gave me dog food. So.
Has your town ever been in a fun town competition?
No.
I mean, Brisbane called itself Bris Vegas for a little while, and it
did it actually?
Like,
well, I know people call it that, but I don't know.
1999, and then it started like it's shown up a little bit, like because that's the problem is that's gonna happen. I mean, Brisbane's not a fun town. I mean, I wouldn't call it like there are worse places by a fucking mile, but like,
What is Brisbane famous for? Brisbane, the state of Queensland capital, is known for its youthful zeal, charming vibe, and 280 days of sun a year.
Like, all right, like the sun, correct. Those first two things, youthful zeal, not a thing, and also inaccurate because Queensland is where boomers come to die. What was the other one? Like a vibe?
Yeah.
Did you measure that? The fucking vibometer? Fuck you. That's just bullshit. So no.
I'm Lord Mayor of Vibes, and I disagree with your statement.
Hello, I am the Prince of Vibes. Bullshit. I don't know. Maybe one of you weird Eastern Europeans that like fucking listen to this have, had a fun town competition, but I can't wait to find out how cripplingly depressing those stories are.
Oh, God, yeah. Like, they're either going to be from small American towns or small Australian towns. And either way, it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's all been grim. Speaking of, the mutants have written words to us. So, all right. So from Christian, hello, Aaron and Gabe. With the exception of surprising strength, being 6'4", and at one time weighing 120 kilos, and losing every arm wrestling match ever, even to women, this is the first time I have felt like this for a few episodes.
Ooh.
I am the cook at home. Because I choose to and need to avoid some ingredients that seem to be in everything, practically everything I eat is homemade. I make my own curries, soups, casseroles, etc. I have a very well-used pressure cooker, and that turns even the shittiest meat into butter in 2 hours. My signature, though, is a sort of vegetable bake, one each of cauliflower and broccoli head cut into florets, leaves included. Handful of kale, boiled buggery and drain. Add a cheese sauce, put together with double cream, butter, mascarpone, a little sour cream, parmesan, and extra mature cheddar. Top with more cheddar, smoked lardons, pancetta, and pepper.
You say
Bake.
smoked lard?
Lardons. It's like slash pancetta, so like it might be some kind of like deli meat that I'm unaware of.
Master the lardon. It's actually better than bacon.
All right.
Lardon is just a fancy word for a slab of bacon.
All right. So it's like it's like a ham king.
Mm.
Simply put, I was scared by a clown once when I was 2. Pretty much because I decided I didn't like clowns. By 3, I decided that I did like clowns and enjoyed all their antics all throughout childhood.
That's funny.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
What prompted that decision? Like one day, you know what?
Got a head job from a clown.
I like clowns.
Probably had a good dream about them.
Like
How does one discover they like clowns?
it's just the use of the fucking word decision is what's getting me there. You know what? I decided I like clowns. Today I'm gonna do it. He's looking in the mirror. So you're gonna do it. You're gonna like clowns. Sticking to strict definitions, professional clowns are in very short supply in the UK. On the island of 68 million, there's little more than 100. There was even a news report on it a few years ago. Oh, I remember that news report. It was very, very funny. With that in mind, my chances of literally stumbling dick first into a clown are not far off, if not exactly 1,000,000 to 1. I have therefore never fucked a clown. This question did remind me of a video where a husband suspected his wife of cheating and tried surprising her in the act, only to burst in on her having a clown orgy. It'll be on the internet somewhere. I'm sure it will. The only time I had anything close to my fortune told was in 2016 when my sister bought a tarot card set and she did a reading for me. Apparently all of the hardship in my life was past and it was all prosperity from there. Life for me has improved since, but not for a lack of fucking hardship. All the best. I'll let someone else now say when they felt like this. Christian.
You know, I just Googled clown fetish just to see.
Oh, no, it's out of control.
No, I know it's a thing, but I just wanted to see, like, and something popped up and it was like, ask me anything, I have a clown fetish, blah, blah, blah. And
what the fuck? Like, what am I?
The fucking thing that I forgot about. You
What's
remember
the top question of that?
You remember the game on, it is Pennywise, Ronald McDonald, the Joker, fuck, kill, marry. Remember the game Pandemonium?
Yeah.
On PS1?
Yeah.
That would have bred so many clown fetishes from that one. Now that I think about it.
I mean, was the girl a clown? Because like, there's just the creepy fucking stick mask. Because that's just punch.
She's got clown-ish.
Because I don't remember as being very clownish.
She's got like the leggings and the shoes.
Yeah, I mean,
wow,
like the thing is though, if you just put like a hot girl in an outfit, I don't think counts exactly.
Like it says,
you know?
she says, I didn't really start out with clowns either. Really attracted to a lot of jester characters in video games.
Jesus.
So starting with Fargus from an old PC game. So this is a girl. So she's talking about the dude, Jester. Followed much later by Kefka, Palazzo, and Serco.
Kefka's from, yeah.
After I realized that I had a thing for jesters, narrowed it further down to what I liked about them, realized the same applied to clowns. That's when I was about 15. Another big part that sort of contributed were haunted houses that pop up around Halloween, believe it or not. Since coulrophobia is so common, there are normal... Okay, that's the word for clown.
Is it?
I'm going to Google this. Extreme or irrational fear of clowns. Coulrophobia.
Because like...
Interesting.
God, that's weird. What I love is like, at some point, at some fucking horror goddamn thing somewhere, some scare house, there's been like a fucking guy in a motor clown outfit leap out and give some creepy little 15-year-old girl an orgasm by accident.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Horrifying for everyone involved. Hello, Nora and E-Bag. It's Sticky Jizz Hands. Have you ever gone by your name backwards? Oh, Jesus. I'm sad to say that yes, I have. Yeah.
Is there more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
thought you were just going to...
letting that marinate.
Yeah, fair enough. I told you people do.
Lachlan ended up being Nell Clark. Nell Cole. That's almost... There's like a faintly early fucking, Mesoamerican thing to that. There's like... That's almost like fucking Aztec.
I was thinking more like fucking... What's his face? Cthulhu and shit. That's what I...
When I was a kid and an idiot, I thought this was a good idea.
Yes,
I don't quite remember why I thought this, but in hindsight, it just made me look like even more of an artist than I already was. Well, we're piecing together elements of this puzzle here. I also used it, as well as other variation of my real name, as an early internet handle before I realized how awful of an idea that was. The worst part is that, as with many names when reversed, it isn't even really pronounceable, or if it is, requires making a sound like deep-throating a sponge. I am looking forward to hearing how you both think it should be pronounced, though.
Mate, show me the word in writing so I can try to pronounce it.
Alright. Null. Like, that's what I'm getting. Like, it is, like, there is a...
Null.
Yeah, like, you can skip
Null.
the H, but, like, I feel like that the H is part of the fun. Like,
Yeah.
like, I get, like, the fucking, like,
It's like a narwhal calendar.
like, there's a lot of that, like, there's a lot of that in the fucking, Aztec stuff, which I enjoy for some weird reason. Do you have your own personal recipe? I admit it's a hell of a stretch to call it a recipe, but it's something I've never heard of anyone else doing, and everyone I mention seems to think it's real weird and gross until they try it and end up liking it. Okay. As a broke uni student, 2-minute noodles and ramen are the staple food for me. Yes. After draining out the broth, I like to add a handful of soy, parmesan cheese before mixing thoroughly. If I'm feeling fancy, I'll also sometimes add a fried egg. I find the flavors and textures blend well. You know what? For poverty fucking student food, yeah, alright, I kind of get that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Have you ever been scared of clowns? No, and I've honestly never really understood why people find them so scary, discounting intentionally scary clowns like from It. One of my friends is a professional clown, and he's one of the nicest people I know. Haven't had sex with the clown, but probably would if the opportunity arose and they were decently attractive.
Hey,
sounds like a fun time.
Hey, your friend. They want to fuck you because you're a clown.
Just.
I'm piecing it together.
Hey, Gabe Simpson and Aaron Van Houten. Kyber here. Cross country, like most Australian
I feel
kids.
like you shouldn't read Kybers out just for calling me Millhouse. If this is going to be Look Kyber, I swear to fucking Christ, if this is like some of the weird shit you asked me on my Twitch streams, I'm going to be upset.
I had cross country. I was all right at it, usually coming third-ish. That's not bad. That being said, in high school, I walked it because I liked talking with my friends. I remember we always walked around a sort of bushy area near the school, which was nearly always neat. I never went to the athletics carnivals in high school, as I usually took the day off. Yeah, that's basically what they should have been. Have I met someone I admired? When I went to BlizzCon in 2015, I met all of my favorite developers and a lot of cool artists. Also, last year, when Aaron was doing the Pokemon stuff, I saw him on the streets of Melbourne for one of the tournaments near Flinders Street. Aaron is really tall in real life.
I want to add that they didn't meet me. They just saw me. They didn't say hello.
They're peeking!
Yeah, they were peeking at me.
I guess I wouldn't mind meeting a clone of myself. Like Gabe, I don't really know what we'd do. I guess critique each other's art. Also, Gabe, wouldn't you two train together? Also, Aaron, you're not a Kryptonian, you're a Krypaltonian. Fair enough.
Fucking how long did you spend on that joke?
In regards to the flavor question, I guess chili. I used Gabe's recipe, which is great, but I blended ancho, chipotle, and guajillo chilies. Actually, a really great flavor. Also, I use way less cumin. Yeah, you can use less cumin if you've got, like, chipotle, because chipotle's got, like, that natural fucking base flavor. You can get that stuff at, like, the fucking supermarket now here, which is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And you are tall. You're, like, fucking 6'1" or some shit.
Yeah.
This is John. I've done cross-country in school. I don't remember much significant happening, and we just ran through town. Our gym teacher didn't trust us. Fair enough. So we'd drive around the route and shout at us if he caught us walking. That's funny. This is what I mean about, like, I get that appeals to the sewer clown part of me again, where it's just like, what did you do today, honey? I got to follow children in a car and scream at them. This is fucking great. I have met someone I admired. Several years ago, I met my favorite author in an airport bookshop. Huh. For context, I was jet-lagged to shit with a busy weekend ahead of me. I'd been awake way too long and had to wait around for a train. I went to grab something to read and noticed a new title by Alastair Reynolds, my favorite author. Look up Alastair Reynolds. I'm kind of curious as to what they do. Because if they're just in a book, if they're like, I mean, were they doing a signing in a fucking airport bookstore? Because that does not sound like he writes good books.
British science fiction author.
Right.
What books does he have? Books.
As I grabbed the book, a guy next to me piped up, "Oh, hey, that's my book you've got there." My fatigued mind slipped into autopilot and I replied without thinking, "Oh, sorry, mate, here you go." I then handed him his book back and quickly left the store, embarrassed at having almost taken someone else's stuff. That's solid. That's very funny. The next day, I realized my mistake. I looked up the author's photo, and sure enough, it was the guy from the airport bookstore. I assume he planned to sign the book, quite a nice gesture, and not all deserving of the baffling encounter that resulted. I presumably blindsided him, or else he wouldn't have thought I was just some kind of nutcase. Either way, I don't remember him trying to correct me. Sorry, Alistair, maybe next time. Thanks for the podcasts. As always, you guys are both great. Hope all continues well into the holidays.
So he like writes space novels, essentially.
Fair enough.
Like I've never heard of any of them.
I mean, look, I don't read fiction these days, so, you know.
Permafrost, Inhibitor Phase, Terminal World, Revelation Space, which was like his big one. He had like 6 books in that one. I don't know.
Phew. From Tristan. Dear Aaron and Beefsteak, I've been listening to at least one half of you since the early days of Let's Drown Out, before House Morton and House Crowshaw ended their uneasy alliance. My personal recipe, Igor bars, okay, is actually stolen from an obscure online comic called Dork Tower. To be fair, the recipe was described rather than written in full, but I was able to piece together the details and come up with a viable recipe. Full disclosure, Igor bars are probably the least healthy substance on the planet. Only stoufas, chicken pot pies, botulinum toxin, and any entree from the Cheesecake Factory come close to matching their vile toxicity. Yeah, I ate at Cheesecake Factory when I was in the States with the arts, and it is fucking wild.
Yeah, I had Cheesecake Factory. It was fucking nice. I really enjoyed it.
It's so rich.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, it was, because I was hungry. And then I forget that country is trying to kill its people with, like, food.
Oh, yeah. No, I couldn't finish whatever I had.
No
I
one
had some
should
sort
eat
of
them.
steak.
Yeah, ever. Side effects of consumption include hyperglycemia, self-loathing, and both type 1 and type 2 diabetes somehow.
Well, I got neither, so.
Well, it becomes type 3.
I guess if you're eating every day.
Start with a batch of chocolate chip cookie dough. Spread the dough along the bottom of a greased pan and bake. While waiting, prepare a batch of melted caramel. A double boiler is useful here. And mix some homemade Rice Krispie treats. I believe you call them LCMs in Australia. Yes, we do. Once the chocolate chip cookie dough is done, take it out of the oven, let it cool for a few minutes, spread the caramel on top of it, sprinkling liberally with salted peanuts, and then spread the Rice Krispie treats on top of the caramel. The caramel acts as a glue, holding the cookie and Rice Krispies layers together. Next, God, there's more. Prepare some melted chocolate. Coat the Rice Krispies with the chocolate, and then sprinkle with M&Ms, crushed Oreos, candy corn, gummy bears, more peanuts, and or any other disgusting high sucrose food-related substance your clotted heart desires. Variations of this recipe include using cereals other than Rice Krispies, such as Lucky Charms or Fruit Loops, when making the Rice Krispie treats. I've heard of one person even putting a layer of bacon on top of everything. I haven't made these since college and probably never will again. They were extremely popular among my stoner friends. I regret everything. Cheers.
Yeah, I like that sort of shit, and that sounds like it would give me a heart attack.
I mean, I seldom get a sweet tooth, but I will say that one thing I am absolutely fucking vulnerable to are those fucking Woolworths biscuits.
Mm.
And I figured out why. They taste like what biscuits in cartoons taste like.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Like they have an insanely soft texture that stays somehow, even if you've left them for 3 days. Like
They're still firm.
They are, yeah. They're what
They are
cartoon
magic,
biscuits
yeah.
taste like. And
I think they're called Dreamy Choc or something.
yeah, Dreamy Choc. And they're like $5 for 5.
They're so good though. Like the thickness, we call them stoner cookies because
they are stunning.
Because if you're so baked, and trust me, I was, they are just the best thing ever. Like it is one of the best stoner foods I've ever had.
The texture is amazing. The fucking flavor's amazing.
But after you've had like 3, your teeth start getting like irritated because they're so sugary.
Yeah, I have like 1 a day.
Yeah, no, God.
I could not fucking eat 3.
Well,
I mean,
look,
I could see
I was
if
high,
I was, I was going to say, yeah.
You don't want the party to stop.
No, yeah, it's like, that was good in my mouth. And then you just go get another one. This is from Russ. Greetings, Brothers Twist. I have indeed felt like this on many occasions, and I'd make a copy of myself in a heartbeat. As someone trying to become a professional novelist, time is most frequently the limiting factor, not willpower. I wish I could be editing one manuscript while drafting the next. It'd also be useful in my rock climbing hobby, since I'd never be wanting for a belayer. Also, fun in quotes, fact, a name created by spelling another one backwards is known as an anonym. Obviously, I'm rather keen on the concept, but I've never used one just due to practical limitations. Going by Sir sounds like I'm just demanding people address me as Sir, and lesser, this looks fucking Welsh. If Google Translate is believed, it means sour welfare. Thanks for the fantastic commentary as always.
You're welcome.
Christian. Hello, Aaron and Gabe. I apologize you end up reading more than one email from me in one session. I think I'm getting quite good at leaving it too late to send you a message in time for the next episode. Run for fun? What the hell kind of fun is that? I only ever did this on school sports days when it was compulsory. Sometimes I got lucky and was away at uni open day or Warhammer World or Germany on the day. Huh? If I was present, I would make a fairly larger show of my lack of enthusiasm. Yes. I did well in primary school sprints, but my last showing was 4th to last out of nearly 200 in the 800 meters when I was 14. My sister got my dad to run in the dad race in primary school. That's a better story, but you never asked. That's a better story, but you asked about me. Okay, fair enough. Never met a hero. They say you shouldn't. I'm even a poor showing in seeing celebrities. Closest is seeing a band at a gig or being in the vicinity of my local MP. Not the same thing. I hear Tim Curry spends his time doing Skype calls with fans now. A bit sad that his before and after now makes Kathleen Turner's before and after look like Jane Fonda's before and after.
Damn.
I mean, at least he had a stroke, though. Like, there's a reason. You know?
Yeah.
It's okay if there's a reason. It's not like he just melted one day. Having two
That's
of
how
me-
I'm going to fucking describe it from now on.
Having two of me isn't something I ever really wanted. Instead of an identical stand-in, I'd rather have had time skips to after events I wasn't looking forward to, like the Harlem Globetrotters episode of Futurama. Real life, two of me people, identical twins, seem to do everything together as kids, but as much as possible, completely separated as adults. I don't think I'd want that for me and other me. I've read and said many things backwards, but never considered my own name. It's one of those words that comes out of you as the noise I imagine one would make when you sneeze and orgasm at the same time. Looking forward to your next video. Many thanks.
You're welcome.
What would his name be backwards? Nist Christ? I don't know.
What, Christian?
Christian.
Christian.
Yeah. More people have thought about this. That's so weird. I guess I'm the weirdo. But I'm not a dumbass. So there's that.
What is Christian spelled backwards?
Nip tits. I'm surprised there isn't just a thing on the internet that reads names to you backwards.
The word Christian spelled backwards is nightshirk. Night circ.
Fucking great. Okay, so remember, the email address for you to send the things you should be saying to, counselors you can't afford is ihavefeltlikethis@yahoo.com. And our questions for this one. Have you ever embarrassed yourself public speaking? I'm guessing that's going to be fertile, considering our listening base. Have you ever found something interesting on a beach? What's your weird term for dog feces? And
That could go to any animal feces if you don't have one for dog.
yeah, like if you're living in some kind of former fucking Soviet satellite nation and still get like feral fucking, Russian science experiments.
Or if you
squatting.
tend emus or,
Yeah.
moose.
You can expand beyond the bounds if it's like, thematically close, but, like Aaron's singing fucking Disturbed at a goddamn pub. Not technically like what you'd call public speaking, and he's medically incapable of feeling shame, but like we can all, we can make those connections. We can be embarrassed for him. And has your town ever been in a fun town competition? Again, I'll accept if there's like, if it's like Happy Town or something else, just like anything like that. I'm kind of curious because I want to get like accredited to make these judgments,
I don't think you'd need much, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I just need
I could just write you a license and that could be
Yeah,
it.
I'll just wear a tag that says judge.
Yeah.
So that is, send your miserable answers to ihavefeltlikethis@yahoo.com. I am Gabriel Twist.
And I am Aaron Twist.
I'm findable at Gabriel on Guard at fucking Twitter.
And I am KEC Aaron at Twitter. You can find us on keepitclassy.com and youtube.com/keepitclassy. If you're listening on the podcasts, you should be able to find this on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else good podcasts are found.
All of them. And bad podcasts, let's face it.
Yeah.
There should just be a place for shitty
I like that we're on
podcasts.
Deezer because then I can make the Deezer nuts jokes.
Like, there should be relegation for podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, they just, all right, you've not got enough listens. You're going back down into the toilet dimension.
No.
Because, I'd go to the toilet dimension to see what kind of podcasts live there.
Yeah, there should be a thing that the
Shittiest.
like absolutely collects the worst podcasts.
Yeah.
Not just by like shit audio quality or something, but just subject and talking, just everything.
Like, there's one podcast that's just Fran Drescher practicing kazoo songs.
Is it the kazoo or her voice? We don't know.
Never know.
We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen.